Hello, everyone. Greetings and welcome. I am Chris Jones of the Nerd Bliss podcast, and I am proud to introduce to you our first spin-off project, Thunder Talk, starring your hosts, Adam, aka Sexy Thor, and Dan, aka Lightning Lad. Guys, this is, again, a brand new project, and I'm happy to have these guys as part of the Nerd Bliss family. It's very much a work in progress. Just know that Adam and Dan are working on it. It's going to get better. I have heard the content. I know the content is good. And speaking of content, we're going to be hearing all about the events of Batman number 50, Batman's Wedding, and we're going to differentiate ourselves from other big news outlets and give you a spoiler warning. Also, Adam and Dan are going to be talking about LeBron James' move to the LA Lakers. Now, here's a selling point for Thunder Talk. You're not going to get sports on the Nerd Bliss podcast. You will get it on Thunder Talk. Next, you're going to hear the segment, What Would Thor Do? And in this episode, Thor takes on the issue of big oil. You're definitely going to want to hear that. After that is Dan's Bad Advice column. We already have people asking these guys for advice, and Dan's going to be there for them. But without any further ado, here are your hosts of Thunder Talk.
Thunder Talk. Sexy Thor. Lightning Lad. Thunder Talk. Lightning sounds. Lightning sound.
Welcome to Thunder Talk, the podcast that asks the question, how the hell do I get these two tracks together? I'm your host, Sexy Thor. This is my co-host and trusty partner,
Lightning Lad Dan, coming at you at the speed of lightning.
And lads.
And lads.
And the first thing we want to talk to you about on this first issue of Thunder Talk is
The Batman Wedding.
I was going to say weddings and marriages. Not real life ones, because we're not that kind of podcast.
No, we don't care about
But
your
we're going
wedding.
to talk to you about fictitious superhero meets supervillain weddings. That is the wedding between Batman and Catwoman in Batman issue 50 that came out last week. Warning, there will be spoilers, so hit 15 seconds ahead about a few dozen times, maybe. But
Yeah, I mean, if you care, go buy the comic. Or talk to a friend that has one.
yeah,
Go buy the comic.
You support your local comic shop. Go on Comixology.
That's right.
YouTube. I don't know.
So Batman got married, right? Isn't that what happened?
No.
Not quite, huh?
No, not really. Super close.
You're right.
You got the judge and the witnesses, but no dice.
No dice. Well, which direction we want to go in this? All right. I mean, first of all, the writer now that they have, who's doing the wedding, it's Batman 50. Now, Batman's been around for how long? This isn't the 50th issue of Batman.
This is the 50th issue of this current reboot.
Of Batman. And from what I understand, the lead on this, the writer, I don't know his name, but what I understand is he is set to do 100 issues. So people are freaking out that, oh my God, they didn't get married, da-da-da. My thoughts are, I think it may be building to that. But if this guy has a 50-issue or 100-issue contract, or that's he's been brought in for 100 issues, that I think that's just the beginning. For all of you who don't know, and we'll talk about those who did know before the issue dropped, which was a dick move. Batman and Catwoman, it's been building up to this for decades, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you get to go to all of the no sidekicks allowed parties. You know, you've seen Catwoman and Batman over there eating all the shrimp. You know, he fucking eats all the shrimp at a party. Well, Batman and Catwoman, so that's one thing they have in common. Fucking super.
And that's just one good example of why they're made for each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
They can eat all the shrimp they want and then do their canoodling afterwards, you know, I mean.
Hashtag Gotham privilege.
Even though Catwoman's was or Selena Kyle, revealed her true identity. She was part of the super underprivileged of Gotham growing up. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't need her mom's maiden name, bro. I understand you. You understand me. The point is, they didn't get married at the end, right?
Yeah.
Her buddy kind of talked her out of it, but her buddy was set up by Bane.
Yeah.
And if you look at the panel, it's Bane, it's Joker, it's Scarecrow, it's Riddler,
Strange.
Yeah, all of and they're all hanging out in Arkham because I guess they're all locked up at the moment. But I guess Arkham doesn't have guards, or they have convenient dark spaces where every supervillain known to the DC universe hangs out.
I know, regular prisons, the prisoners all get together and go hang out in the yard, play basketball, shiv each other, whatever. And in Arkham, they all get to convene down in the basement.
Like, logically speaking, if we're going to try to follow on any kind of plausibility and semblance to the real world, yeah, there would be places they could get together, but it would be like in the shower. So it really should have been all of the supervillains just butt-ass prison naked in the shower at the very end of the issue. Like, we broke Batman. And like, not like whole breaking his spine like Bane went and did. This time Bane went and broke his heart.
Right.
Right? Am I wrong? Am I right?
Broke his heart, broke his spirit, broke all his internal and non-material nothings.
Yeah. Bane just has a fucking boner for that guy. You know?
I know.
Am I allowed to cuss on this show, by the way? Okay. Bane just has a fucking boner for that guy.
I know. Like, Bane and Joker just, like, need to get together because they both have this insane boner for Batman in common that, I mean, I'm not really a shipper, but...
Yeah. But Bane Joker...
I mean, where else do you go from Harley Quinn as your partner?
Yeah, right. I mean, what's going to be the what they aren't expecting you to do? You know, if Joker's always keeping, throwing surprises out there.
I mean, we talked about this in issue 0 about, where do you go from here and how do you grow and evolve the character? I mean,
oh yeah, right. Yeah, if we're going to grow and evolve Joker, I think being in a relationship with Bane is sexual. I mean, gosh, we could really have a real 21st century romance here. Actually, what if they found love amidst all this villainy, and realized that's all they were really looking for, and all of the angst and anger and that they foist upon the world, instead can just be worked out in each other's arms.
I mean, in Gotham, Penguin had a mad crush on Riddler, so...
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Batman didn't get married. What did happen, though, and, if we were a proper journal, a proper news outlet dedicated to the truth in journalism, I would know the answer to this, and I don't. I think it may have been the New York Times, like a couple days before the issue dropped, came out and spoiled it for everyone. And basically said, no, it doesn't. He doesn't get married, and comic books continue. Which, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that was a dick move?
Well, I mean, spoilers like that. I mean,
always a dick move.
It's pretty much always a dick move.
Yeah, and spoilers could be a subject unto itself. When is it appropriate? How is it appropriate to tell everybody that at the end of Ant-Man they all die? Oh. Sorry.
But that was for episode 2.
Yeah, well.
Spoiler for issue 2. We spoil our own podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That's how we do. That's how we're doing this. You don't know how we're going to come at you.
But my question for you is, how Catwoman got dissuaded from marrying Batman is Holly told her that, if Batman finds love and is able to be truly happy, his pain has fueled his heroism throughout all these years. If he's finally happy and that pain's gone, he's going to stop saving people. So Catwoman decided that the move that she would need to be, the heroic move, would be to not be with Batman and be all happily ever after in order to save whatever lives may be saved in the future by Batman.
Totally.
So, I mean,
but
Holly did this as a way to because she had a sinister plan behind it. My question is, does she have a point?
Well, isn't the real question, doesn't Bane have a point? Bane was the mastermind. Bane is the one that sent Holly to do this. Am I wrong? Yeah. So it really comes back to Bane. Bane is the one who sat there and scienced out that if Batman, Bruce Wayne, finds happiness with Catwoman, and then begins to have some semblance of just, a fraction of a normal-ass life, that he would then stop being Batman. Fuck. And then, it would have been Bane that came up with that, and then sent Holly to go gossip talk with her, go try to dissuade her girl from putting a ring on it.
Which is...
Oh, no, but there is...
That would mean that Bane literally has the same thought process as Joker, going back to earlier, that they're supervillains that have their own, dastardly plots, but they really don't want Batman to go away.
Oh, sure.
Normally in traditional stories, the villain wants to vanquish the hero, or for them to just go away by whatever means so they can carry out their plot and all that. But with Batman, all the supervillains, or at least Bane and Joker, they want him to stick around.
Well, especially Joker. What is Joker without Batman? Well,
exactly.
Probably not the Joker. Let me guess, that's one of Joker's biggest anxieties that we've actually seen play out.
I know. Joker was genuinely hurt that he didn't get an invite to Batman's wedding.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. All right, okay, follow me on this one, right? We all have our friends, right? You have your girl, you got your bros, and your friendship is what it is, but then when one of you decides to get married, that changes the entire dynamic of your friendship, a friendship that you may not want to end. Like, no, dude, don't marry her. Keep, playing NBA. What is it, 2K18? We'll get to that. NBA, what is it,
2K19.
2K19. Yeah, don't marry her, girl. Let's just keep fucking doing our thing. And so if you look at it from that perspective, you got Holly, of course, who won't be able to, totally bro around with her girl, and all that.
Yeah,
but then if you look at...
So Holly's been locked up in Arkham and got sent back to Arkham after she had carried out the plot of dissuading Catwoman from marrying Batman. So it's not like she's hanging out with Catwoman anyway. They're not getting together for brunch the next Sunday.
It sounds like she's the real Catwoman then, because that's just spite. That's just spitting venom right there at your girl. But then if you look at his Batman's villains as opposed to Batman's friends, if you look at
all of Batman's friends are trying to inspire him to quit, pretty much.
Yeah, right. If you look at his real dogs, his real fucking... Because think about it.
The Bat family.
The motherfuckers that enable Batman, right? The motherfuckers that are there reinforcing Batman's passion in being Batman, which may be self-destructive. I think that's... I don't know, the last 30 years we've been exploring that side of Batman. His real... Dude, his ride or die motherfuckers, though, are the villains. Right?
For real, though.
Yeah, right? So... Batman gets married, their fucking boy, he's gone. Dude, he's not in the picture anymore. He's not rolling up. He's not going out. Gotham shit. All
his friends keep threatening to leave him if he continues being Batman.
Yeah.
So it's like, are the supervillains acting as his homies or like
both
his drug buddies?
You're both.
His addict buddies.
Both. Yeah. Your best friend and your enabler, who enables you to be, the most able to live with yourself as you can be without having any kind of major personality, breakthroughs or evolving as a person. They'll hold you down with them, but man, you are holding it down. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like that, really. Yeah. Like, dude, no.
Yeah, like your
no good anyway.
Buddies or your
right,
buddies.
Exactly. It's your dope friends.
Yeah.
Those are his dope friends.
Because he still has the ways and means to just going back to being regular old Bruce and being happy and all that.
Dude, yeah, he can be Bruce Ass Wayne anytime. Well, now hold on though.
Just like if somebody has years of whatever substance addiction and he has buddies that are into doing the same
into
substances
the
together,
life.
and then he wants to get out and move on with his life, and then they're like, nah, man.
Nah, bro. No, Joker has come out and said, "Yeah, I want to change, and be a better person." It always ends up being some fucked up plot, but only because Batman puts his dick in it every time. You know, I mean, it was the.
And that's what had Harley so caught up.
Yeah. I mean, has Batman ever really been into rehabilitating any of these people?
No, seems like.
I mean, I'm gonna guess that after. I mean, the comic's been out for like what, the last 150 years or something. That at one point the Wayne Foundation would have put money into rehabilitating super genius assholes with total personality disorders.
Well, it seems like he's had a interest in, trying to rehab Catwoman and, helping out Harley and trying to even dissuade Ivy into going back more into, regular science than, having plants take over the world. So maybe he just seems more redemption value in his female foes than.
Well, yeah. I mean, he wants to be the daddy that they obviously didn't have, because why would they commit all these crimes? No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that at all. But if you read some of these comics, you got to ask some of these guys, why is Batman always trying to save the ladies?
It's a good
Captive
question.
audience. I mean, again, ask. I bet Joker's attraction to Harley and Batman's attraction to Harley. I'd sit them in a room, because Batman has I never freeze. He's had those fucking moments with Harley, right?
Right.
Yeah. Even in the movie, the Suicide Squad movie, when Batman jumps in the water to save her, and all that, they're even they want your movie dollars now, and they're showing you the same thing, right?
Yeah.
That Ivy. Who wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, no, we can make it work. I could fix her. I could definitely fix her. Or Catwoman, the goth chick that you don't really want to fix. You want her to fix you. Yeah. So, Ivy'd be like somebody he's like, oh, I could fix her. And Catwoman's like, no, I want her to fix me. I want 3 lip rings. That is what I want for myself.
I want to stop listening to Kansas and start listening to some more Bjork.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. We'd go listen to some fucking dubstep and then hit an art museum, hit a fucking gallery on the way to a coffee shop that no one's heard of.
Yeah, who needs Crew and you have Cure?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'll follow you into war anytime, my lord, sexy Thor. Yes, exactly.
I appreciate your continued service, Lightning Lad.
Oh, yes, gee Williker, sexy Thor. I'm all down to that hood shit.
So do we have anything more to say about this failed wedding? Any more thoughts?
Well, here's my question. You hang out with these motherfuckers. Where do you see it going from here?
Well, as far as, because here's the thing, Rebirth is probably the first sort of sort of reboot series that I've followed from beginning to present day, beginning to end.
Right.
I've read all of Harley's New 52 series and most of her series before that, but that's because that's just how I go down.
Is New 52 out and they've rebooted again?
Yeah, New 52 ran from either somewhere around 2011, 2013, all the way up until 2016, because the Rebirth lineup started up about the same time that Suicide Squad came out, give or take a month before.
Oh, okay.
A month or two before.
Right.
But yeah, so
that'll be issue 11, which should be Thunder Talk's first reboot, and we'll talk about reboots.
Yeah. Don't know what I would call a reboot of Thunder Talk, but Talking Thunder.
It's because it hasn't happened yet. We'll figure it out.
As soon as we figure out how to mix these tracks together, we'll figure out that reboot.
Yeah, because you see, Sexy Thor is an ideas man. Sexy Thor doesn't, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to punch my keyboard and I'm going to make good sound happen. That's not how Sexy Thor. It's not how Sexy Thor rolls. But you're gonna, right? We're gonna get this figured out. We're gonna take this to school and get this figured out. See, we do know how to edit. I would edit out that last thing I said. That's what I would do.
Why not? Give the people a live show.
Oh my God! Thumbs up to the people that know how to record this stuff and edit it. Which is actually a brilliant time to bring up the Nerd Bliss podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, an excellent
Always
show.
a great time to bring up the Nerd Bliss podcast.
Always a good time to bring up the Nerd Bliss podcast.
Have you guys been listening? If not, why not? I pretty much shoved that shit down your throats on Facebook, along with Thunder Talk.
Yeah, everybody.
Along with memes.
Out there in Thunder Talk land, if you're not listening to the Nerd Bliss podcast, you might be an asshole.
And especially the episode that'll be coming out a couple days from the time we're recording this, because it's me and Dan on with the other hosts, Christina and Eric. And that episode, I would say, because we talk about Thunder Talk and even bring up some of the stuff that we did in issue 0, like Tom Cruise, for example. But that episode, the Nerd Bliss podcast as a whole, but especially that particular episode, is like the Captain America Civil War to Spider Thor and Dan Panther. You don't have to listen to it to appreciate those, individual stories, those individual programs, but it helps a lot, and you'll understand who Bucky is when he shows up in the end credit scene.
Yeah,
It's not Thor or a random one-armed Jesus.
Yeah. If you want to understand Thunder Talk, then you really need to get a monthly subscription to Jungle Adventures. It's a double issue print. It's only like 50 cents more. A lot of Nerd Bliss podcast. Listen.
Damn it.
Speaking of listening, this is a point where we're going to hit the unrecord button in an attempt to maybe put in the Nerd Bliss advertisement here. So we're going to stop recording and
We'll be right back.
after these messages.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Chris Jones, and I'm here to tell you about the Nerd Bliss podcast. As the name suggests, we're geeks and nerds. We love all the geeky stuff. Sci-fi, fantasy, books, cosplay, comic books. We'll be talking about all of it. But don't let the name fool you. Fitness geeks, musicians, or people who live and breathe cars, computers, or even history. We want to talk to them too, and have as much fun as possible along the way. Check us out at nerdblisspodcast.com and on social media at nerdblisspod. That's nerdblisspodcast.com and on social media at nerdblisspod. Come stop by and share your nerd bliss with us.
All right, welcome back. How you feeling, Lightning Lad?
Well, I'm doing good. Thor, are you touching a lead or something? Got your lightning powers up.
Well, feedback, electricity.
Thunder Talk.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. That's right. Look out for that.
Speaking of electricity, I hear some sort of spark's been lit in a certain part of L.A., in the Staples Center.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You're an Asgardian. You follow the Lakers. Los Angeles and Asgard. Those are the cities claimed by my Lakers. Yeah, they got some big news over there.
Yeah, flashy, boastful warriors, both of them.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, fuck Boston. Yeah, they're like the
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. The Boston Celtics do not go around beating up 5-year-olds. I don't know where you've heard that from, but it's not true. I'm sure that the Boston Celtics do not go around randomly beating up 5-year-olds.
I don't know. There might be
or the
something
Patriots.
To it. Oh, man. Ugh. Yeah.
Los Angeles.
We got LeBron coming to Los Angeles. What are your thoughts on that, Thor?
Well, I like to compare it to when there's a female and you want to talk to her, ask her out, you kind of vision yourself with her, but you're like, realistically, you're like, really, she's ruling the roost where she is. Like, why the fuck would she want to be with me? I've sucked since 2012. And then, you're just like, fuck it, life's too short. You ask her out, she says yes, and she wants to be with you for at least 4 years.
Right.
And quite a many million of dollars, but that particular anecdote's going to take another turn. But yeah, I was surprised because I didn't think LeBron would ever want to leave the East. I mean, he's pretty much owned that shit his entire career, gone to the finals every single year since the 2010-2011 season.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if he goes to the West, then there's an almost absolutely guaranteed shot that he will not make it to the finals because, the Golden State Warriors are there. The Houston, the Warriors do not cheat or beat up 5-year-olds or use cheat codes when they allegedly. Or the Rockets or the Spurs. I mean, even the Spurs in their sort of iffy condition, like, it's hard to imagine the Lakers getting past them in any sort of 7-game series. So it's like you're thinking, okay, thinking about other options besides LeBron, Paul George, maybe trading half the farm for Kawhi Leonard, even though I really don't want to give up Kyle Kuzma for anybody.
Yeah.
And turns out LeBron's cool coming to us, and we don't have to give up Kuzma to do it.
Yeah, right. I
would have been okay giving up the whole entire Ball family to anybody for LeBron, but
well,
they're there too.
LA went a different direction a little while back, didn't they? They thought they would. They thought they'd be a lot of these guys, 5th year of college, and that's kind of what it ended up looking like. You've said a lot there. Thor, to make me think about why would LeBron leave the East? Well, he certainly left Cleveland once because Cleveland wasn't getting him any rings, right?
Yeah.
But he came back. There was that little short film he did, The Decision.
Yeah, the little half-hour TV special on ESPN.
Right. That's where he's from. That's where his people are. And he went out into the world looking for those rings. Came back. Tyrone Lue, I think, was a big part of LeBron finally clicking in Cleveland. But then Cleveland getting behind LeBron. I mean, when you get down to it, it's because Cleveland has not put a program together that has gotten them past Steph Curry, past Golden State, that is not getting him the rings that he and his record deserve, half the rings he deserves. Maybe I'm being a little boastful there, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Cleveland just hasn't gotten it together for him. They just haven't. And now now he has a chance to go. What it is, when you really think about it, you can either speculate one of two ways, and I think it has to be that he doesn't see Cleveland stepping up. He doesn't see Cleveland stepping up. He doesn't see the playoffs in 2019 and the championship in 2019. He doesn't see him winning that with Cleveland. If he did, he'd stay.
Yeah, or even reaching it at this point.
Right. Oh, my God. Right. And the more sinister would be like, 15 years, fuck it, cash me out. a lot of people go to die on the Lakers. A lot of people go to end. Karl Malone, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Gary Payton.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to go die in L.A. Here's a truck full of money. Come die. It's always nice weather out here to die in. Yeah, Lakers have no problem doing that for people. That's a more cynical answer. I think that he's, whatever the fuck it is he sees in L.A., he sees it as a way through Oakland. He sees it as a way through Golden State. That's the way I see it. I kind of became a little bit of a Golden State fan, actually.
Plus,
a little last year. I was in Oakland during the last couple games of the championship, and we were there for the parade, the celebration, and everything.
Oh yeah,
in Oakland. Yeah, we didn't go. We were going to. The kids and I were staying just up the street, a couple of freeway exits up, and all that, and a little more than that. Whatever. We were going to go check, and we went the day before to check it out. And it looked like, okay, well, we can park here, or we can take the BART, which is their version of a subway in the Bay Area Transit. And we could just take the BART up a couple stops, hop out. And then that night, I was watching the local news, and they said that it was estimated that 2 million people were going to be there for the festivities, for there would be a parade, ceremony, all of that. And yeah, 2 million people. So it's like, all right, kids, plan B. We're going to hide under the bed. We're going to hide under the bed tomorrow. But I ended up, in the absence of the Lakers, I guess really in their dominance, in my wanting to cling on to something California, I began to kind of like see Golden State as well. I guess that's kind of the team right now. But then if the Lakers are going to get LeBron, I'm sorry, let's talk about me. Let's talk about Lightning Lad. Yeah, my origin story starts in Oakland as well, with Steph Curry and all that. That's not true.
Especially since Steph Curry started more towards Charlotte, which is closer to where we are currently.
And then you get into all kinds of... but see, I've always loved LeBron. Since I moved out to the East, now that I live under, the Eastern fucking Conference, embrace it. You embrace it. It's adaptation. Adapt, migrate, or die. And I've always liked LeBron since day one. And I've certainly been following more LeBron than Cleveland. But kind of rooting. You love the one you're with. Here I am on the East Coast, pulling for LeBron. Now that the idea of LeBron joining my Lakers is, I still got the feels about it. How are you feeling about it?
Oh, super excited. I mean, when the news broke, I was over at the Pop Evil concert at the Firmament, and I was just like checking my phone in between the 4 opening bands that was playing before Pop Evil. But that's another story for another episode.
Oh, Greenville's super hot, super tight music scene.
Right.
Yeah, we're the new Nashville. Yeah, no, that's like 4 more episodes coming soon.
Right. And but yeah, like I checked my phone and I get a little ESPN pop-up alert that says LeBron agrees to join the Lakers, and I had to read that 3 more times, make sure it was verified, it came from ESPN, all that sort of stuff, because...
And you're the one that told me.
Yeah, exactly. I messaged you on Facebook
I found out through you. Yeah, right.
And I was just like, what? Ooh, what? But it all makes sense, because with all the speculation I've heard on some ESPN podcasts and shows that I've listened to, I mean, there's a whole lot to the city of Los Angeles that he really likes. His wife really loves it.
Who doesn't?
There's schools there that he wants to send his children to.
Yeah, there are.
To which then that begs the question, well, why didn't he choose the Clippers? Short answer, because they're the fucking Clippers. And the long answer is because I think, Magic Johnson is probably the only executive in the NBA that LeBron has more in common with, that shares a more similar vision to him, because Magic Johnson's a Hall of Fame mogul. He's still part owner of the Dodgers, I do believe.
He's the reason why LA has football again.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the reasons. He's a mover. He's a shaker. Magic is L.A.
So
Magic in L.A. Or you can't divorce one from the other.
So I think he can work with Magic and have a shared vision onto how to build the Lakers back into prominence again. And that, of course, you already know. Even though some of the sports media are saying that it's a championship or bust now that LeBron's with us, I don't think they see it that way, nor should they. It's going to be a project.
You think they're looking
by
at
at least a couple of years?
A multi-season rebuild, total tear down and rebuild, and I can see that. Tyrone Lue, who's a Laker, coach of the Cavs, wrote a beautiful letter the other day to I forget who it was over at the Lakers organization, Lakers management. Tyrone Lue wrote him a letter.
We'll just say Genie Bus and Magic.
There you go. Wrote them a letter on the whole, because this has been around since what was his name before Tyrone Lue? It was
David Blatt.
Yeah, and I would know if I gave a shit, but I do give a shit about Tyrone Lue. And he wrote a beautiful letter. This whole idea that LeBron is not on a coach's level is not easy to work with at all. Tyrone Lue wrote this letter saying, "No, he's a coach's player. He's a player's player. You got to fall in line with him, as a coach to a certain degree, and as a team, he is your captain." All right, and not as in like, hey man, it's all good. He's like, nah, motherfucker, you're gonna sit down and listen to your captain. He can be hard because he wants it. He wants it, and if you're on that same page, he's one of the best players in the league to work with, and always has been. So a lot of grace going on there, and I think you're right. I think it's how could there not be? It's shit for anybody to say, Lakers championship or bust for 2019. Is just trying to grab headlines. All right,
Yeah.
That's like running around and saying like the Boston Celtics go around and beat up 5-year-olds. Okay, that's like spreading rumors like that, which I'm sure are rumors. I'm sure the Boston Celtics do not go around beating up 5-year-olds. Saying the Lakers, they have to fucking win a championship in 2019 is just like saying that the Boston Celtics go around beating up 5-year-olds. Of course, there has to be some team building. It's a total tear down the Lakers right now. It's a complete rebuild. But they got LeBron, so if anybody can come in with that toolkit, it's going to be LeBron. And there's some hate going on too. We talked about that.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that because it's just like, why? This is pretty much the first relevant thing, unless you want to count getting Magic Johnson in the front office. This is the first significant thing since Kobe's 60-point career finale.
Right. Yes.
61 point. I don't know. Something.
Yeah. It's 60. Good last game and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
that of going through the years with D'Antoni and having Nick Young as a starter, Jordan Clarkson as a starter, which wasn't bad. He would have been a nice piece to still have in this LeBron era.
Oh yeah,
even though we kind of got a taste of that when he and Larry Nance got traded to Cleveland, and it was just like,
right,
iffy result.
Right. Yeah, the hate I'm talking about. And to preface this, I'm not hearing a lot of hate coming out of Cleveland. It's almost like Cleveland knew that it got a second chance. And it kind of knows that it blew it.
Yeah. They have enough history and perspective to know that.
That this isn't. It's not the first time he's leaving us. Maybe it's the first time we'll just kind of be like, we need to look at ourselves. Okay. It's like your spouse left, you got him back, but you didn't change. You tried. You fucking tried. You tried so hard, but you're just, you're not there yet. Maybe you do need some time alone now. I'm talking about L.A. is throwing shade. Now, I'm not talking about in fits and masses. Nobody's taken to the streets. But people have taken to vandalizing a really badass mural that someone threw up. It was LeBron and just said, King of L.A. And somebody spray painted that up. A lot of people in LA pissy about that. You been hearing about that?
Yep. It's just like, why though? It's like would you rather just have, years of suckiness and just have our high note end with what Kobe brought so many years ago? It's like, no, it's time to change. It's time to move past that. It's time to have a new superstar, which LeBron's like a new new superstar.
What did it? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a legacy.
The youth movement that we've been trying to build the last couple of years isn't cutting it by itself. We need a guy who pretty much personifies going to championships that isn't on the Golden State Warriors.
Right. Well, the Lakers with LA. For all of you who I don't manage to squeeze it into the first 5 minutes after meeting you, I'm from LA. Hey, I'm Dan. I'm from LA. Did you know I was from LA?
Hey, I'm from LA. I'm from
Yeah. And I only sort of. I mean,
Lightning Lad is from LA.
That's right. I'm from from that realm. Yeah. I'm from LA. Gee Willikers. Thor. That's my power. My power is to fucking name drop.
Cities.
That's what's pissing us off. The fact that we need a fixer to come and see. We have a legacy in LA. There's no other team. No other team stands second to the Lakers. Fuck Boston. All right. Yeah, they probably are going around beating up 5-year-olds. That's what I've been hearing. For legal purposes, the Boston Celtics do not go around beating up 5-year-olds.
They might beat up on the Raptors, but they're not 5-year-olds. At least physically.
No, they're dinosaurs. As much as we hate Boston, we do appreciate some of their Raptor control services from time to time, depending on how the season's unfolding. That being said,
now that LeBron isn't in the East to keep the Raptor population down,
okay,
it's up to you, Boston. If you let the Raptors go to the championship, then just quit.
Right. Change your name to Lucky Charms.
Change your name to the Wahlbergs.
This could go everywhere. Definitely, the show next year is going to be in the West. All right, the NBA show has changed to its West Coast studios next season. That's for sure. L.A. There's that weird ego there. You look at Magic from Michigan State all the way through the day he retired. Right, Los Angeles. Kobe. Right, he what? He got done with his banana and juice box at
Lower
recess.
Marion High School.
And walked right on in. Yeah, all the way to his 600-point final game. And now we need somebody. 15 years. All right. Oh, and here's something else to think about. You could argue Kobe's the best. You look at the last 20 years. One could say Kobe's the best in the game. In the last 20 years, post Jordan, it's Kobe. Arguably. And why is that arguably? Because LeBron, the only other player. The other player, it's like shit. It's almost like you could get perpetual energy out of that argument. Who is better? Well, it's the other guy. It's the other guy who has to come and fix us now. Because Kobe's gone. Right?
Yeah.
It's like now we need fucking Scott. We need our stepdad or weekend dad. You know what I mean? It's like, he was like, at first you're like, fuck you, every other weekend dad, until you find out he's a mercenary. I don't know. My wife is leaving me, and I'm thinking about how to turn that energy into a screenplay. That was a joke, too. I'm fucking kidding. I'm sorry. So there's ego in LA. That Scott needs LeBron. Anybody but LeBron is the only way we're going to find a way through Golden State, through Steph Curry.
Which it would have been nice to find the Golden State way, because they came up pretty much purely by their youth movement as built up by Mark Jackson, who for some reason still doesn't have an NBA coaching job at this current moment.
Yeah,
but that's another topic.
Right.
Even Colin Kaepernick saying, why the fuck doesn't he have a job? But anyway.
Yeah, right. Love Colin Kaepernick. I will go on file to say that. I'll go on the record on that.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and take another break.
Hi, I'm Chris Jones, and I'm here to tell you about the Nerd Bliss podcast. As the name suggests, we're geeks and nerds. We love all the geeky stuff. Sci-fi, fantasy, books, cosplay, comic books. We'll be talking about all of it. But don't let the name fool you. Fitness geeks, musicians, or people who live and breathe cars, computers, or even history. We want to talk to them too, and have as much fun as possible along the way. Check us out at nerdblisspodcast.com and on social media at nerdblisspod. That's nerdblisspodcast.com and on social media at nerdblisspod. Come stop by and share your nerd bliss with us.
All right, party people. You've stayed with us this long, so now we got a real treat for you. This is a segment that we like to call What Would Thor Do? Lightning effect. Every week, presuming this is a weekly show and not a bi-daily. Remember you used to get the newspaper, you used to get your morning edition and your evening edition, and your dad was drunk on scotch from like 5 p.m. onward. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask Thor a question. Being from Asgard, not being new to this Earth, I mean, you're really the first Avenger when you think about it, right?
Obviously.
You've been fucking around with us since ye old Viking times.
I know. Maybe even earlier.
Maybe you fought a dinosaur or two, which is actually going to lead me to my question of the week. What would Thor do? What's up with these gas prices? Like, well, I mean, they're creeping up, and I want to know. I mean, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I'm going to start this off by countering it with another question, and it's not for you specifically to answer. It's for anybody that can hear the sound of my voice through this microphone, through your earbuds, through your phone speakers, computer speakers, however you listen to this fine program.
However you humans make sound talk come out of technology box.
But my question to you, listeners of the realm, is what the fuck are you doing with your resources? You've been burning fossil fuels and having all sorts of battles with each other over oil and such for ever since you discovered you can put oil inside a machine and make it go vroom vroom.
And what is the oil anyway? It's a bunch of dinosaurs and plants. How do you get a dinosaur in your fuel tank?
And it's like, you've got this wonderful man who I will champion for a bit right here, Elon Musk. He's pretty much the Tony Stark of this realm, of this particular corner of the multiverse, and he's doing a lot of good work.
Probably more tolerable, too.
Tesla.
He seems like he'd be... I mean, Tony Stark, he makes, like, murder bots happen and
I know.
stuff like that, yeah.
And Musk is trying to warn against that.
Yeah, he's easier to work with, definitely. I've heard on the set, too, he's easier to work with, but I don't want to spread any rumors.
Yeah. He definitely did not try to stop the Boston Celtics from beating up 5-year-olds, because the Boston Celtics do not beat up 5-year-olds.
Nobody did. Nobody tried to stop them. Yeah, no, I mean, but then again, Avengers 4 comes out next year, and I don't want to speculate, so.
But anyway, so I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of notable scientists out there that are doing a lot of good things with alternate energy. He seems to be at least on the public forefront. But really, it's just like, we're going to get more into the, resources that my cohorts in the Avengers use. Cap's been using a ricocheting vibranium shield for 70 plus years now. I hear in other universes there's a young man who lives in another universe full of heroes, that, he is a man of lightning like myself, and he goes around riding a trash can lid. Why aren't we riding around on trash can lids?
Or
vibranium shields.
Yeah, or even better yet, how come Batman isn't like, hey, yo, Static Shock, let me upgrade you?
I know. Stark can upgrade Spider-Man all day long.
Yeah. How come Green Lantern isn't like, I don't know about Green Lantern.
All he is egging Terry McGinnis on to be like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I do, but yeah, go ahead and do that. Batman Beyond issue 50.
Check it out. Yeah, I don't know why y'all aren't just riding hammers at this point.
I know. Just get yourself a good old magical hammer, throw it in the air. It'll lift you off the ground.
It'll pull you off.
The ground.
Bro.
And, just like those solar panels off of that TV show of people who are trying to live off the grid and, are baristas and school counselors that can still somewhat afford big-ass brick houses with solar panels, somehow having the budget to use that.
Yeah, Earth TV is so...
Just get your own hammer. Say, something carbon footprint, something budget.
Yeah, just science that out, people. Yeah, my good friend, I'm gonna do a shout out right now to my good friend Larry Methner, who just got himself a Tesla, brand new Tesla, which is I don't know, maybe your buddy is looking into this Thor, this hammer driven technology, because I heard it's really smooth to drive. I imagine driving around on a hammer is a smooth ride, yeah.
I mean,
it works for me.
And also all the underground technology and transportation works that the Boring Company is doing.
So what are you going to do about the price of gas, Thor? I don't want to say you're dodging the question.
I'm going to summon a whole bunch of lightning, and I'm going to summon some lightning of knowledge here.
I thought you were going to summon lightning and charge Larry's car in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. No, okay. I'll take it.
I can set up charging stations.
Okay. Thank you. See, those are real superhero moves, kids. Okay? Motherfucker can fly down and get your cat out of a tree.
I know. Maybe learn how to ride your cat. No, don't. Just let the cat be.
Yeah, don't be a Boston Celtic, anybody. Okay,
don't ride cats.
Don't ride cats. Don't ride cats.
Unless they're from the Savage Land.
The Savage Land cats.
Yeah. Shi'ar and not Shi'ar. That's an alien race.
You're talking about
Khazar.
Is it?
And the saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah, on Earth, there's actually two places you can find vibranium. It's in Wakanda and in the Savage Lands, which are located in Antarctica, if I'm not mistaken.
They're located in 21st Century Fox's Rights Vault.
Zing. So all we got to do is unlock 20th century's fucking Fox's Rights Vault, and I think the price of gas. I think that should help the price of gas.
Yeah. People need to stop blocking Disney's acquisition of Fox and stop hating on LeBron James as the king of LA.
Yeah, do all that love.
And let's just save this planet, man.
Yeah, exactly. LeBron is your new king. Give us...
I want to keep the quota at 9 realms. I don't want to gain any more, and I don't want to lose any. I don't want to lose any and then have to gain one more to make up the quota.
Especially to the east. Okay?
Especially in the Eastern Conference.
We don't want to lose any realms to the Eastern Conference.
And we're back.
We're back, and better than ever.
With a brand new segment, and I guess all of these segments are brand new because this is the first episode, Dan's Bad Advice column, where Dan gives bad advice. The worst possible advice.
Possible. Yeah, thank you very much. Now, in order to cite our resources, because we are indeed journalists and compelled to uphold a certain level of integrity. We will be pulling our resources from the Inland Empire's #1 newspaper, the Press Enterprise, more specifically their Dear Abby column. That's now, once we get this going, we're going to need all of you to call in with all of your problems, all of your hopes, all of your fears, and spill your deepest, darkest secrets to us, so we can in turn tell you how not to manage them.
And until we get an actual call line, you can like the Thunder Talk Facebook page and post your questions there.
Yeah, or just use the Nerd Bliss call-in line. Yeah.
Exactly. Their audio engineer will let us know.
Yeah, no, we definitely want to throw in a shout-out here real quick to Chris Jones, who is a partner in this show and the managing editor of the Nerd Bliss podcast. If you have any questions for us here on Thunder Talk, give us a call, 864-715-9446. Just say that you're leaving a question for Thunder Talk, and you might end up on the show or the Nerd Bliss, but you will definitely be recorded by us.
And our first ever inaugural question is from, well, we'll tell you at the very end of the question. Dear Abby, Dear Dan.
Dear Dan. Dear Dan.
Dear Dan. I have a wonderful husband of 11 years and 3 children. Carl is attentive, caring, and always puts the needs of our family first. You could say he is everyone's dream husband. Long story short, I cheated on him while I was on vacation. It started as innocent flirtation, but then it went further. When Brad kissed me, I knew it wasn't going to stop there. Afterward, I not only didn't feel guilty, I did it again. I have been quietly communicating with Brad and sent him revealing photos and a graphic video of myself. He loved it, and we plan to meet again soon. Please help me understand why I am cheating on such a wonderful husband. Shouldn't I feel guilty? What can I do to stop this before it gets out of control and Carl finds out? I really don't want to lose him. Sincerely, don't feel guilty.
Don't feel guilty. Cheating around on her husband. Well, first of all, don't feel guilty. I want to say congratulations on embarking on what I'm sure will be a multi-year long midlife crisis. It comes to all of us, and I just I want to welcome you into the family of holy shit, I'm a certain age, and this is all I've done with my life. So now I'm going to go have sex with other people. Wonderful, good for you. You say you have children. Who better to teach them about blowing 11 years of marriage than their mom, than somebody that they love and that they trust, so they too can continue on with the behavior that certainly your question doesn't give us any clues to why you'd go out and do this. But that's okay. That's okay. Marriage only is what the two people in it define it to be. And if you're not on the same page, do I give a shit? Certainly sending him dirty pictures and videos is the smart move. It's rad that you're able to just so completely embrace this with all of the fine people who follow Pornhub. Good for you. Good for you. As for your husband, he sounds kind of boring, really. I mean, I'm sorry. What's? We'll call him Chuck. Sorry, Chuck. Maybe rollerblading just isn't dangerous enough for this woman. Maybe you need to go down to your Harley dealership, and I don't know. I have nowhere else to go with that whole Harley thing. Maybe go play some broken glass. Try to. Maybe she just needs a tough guy or interesting guy. Sounds like, what's his name? Scott? Is that the guy she's banging around with?
Brad.
Brad? Yeah, no. Sounds like Brad is actually the one. Is the love of your life. The way that you're able to express yourself, to have this total just over the phone social media relationship sounds like it's built on a foundation of understanding and trust. And I would, I would keep it going as long as possible, personally, because I think at the end of all of this, you're only going to find happiness with Brad. Should you feel guilty about it? Yeah. I mean, I'm not your mom. Yeah, you should feel guilty about it. I feel guilty about a lot of shit. Certainly not that. But there's things. Learn to live with your guilt. Bury it deep down inside. Let that pressure off every once in a while when you decide to blame your husband for not being an attentive lover. Or ask your husband, do you love me? Are you cheating on me? In order to vent the guilt at the fact that you may not love him and are in fact cheating on him. Go ahead and yell at your kids randomly. These are all great ways to deal with guilt denial, I think.
And if the random sex with Brad, the endorphins released in the brain doesn't help alleviate that guilt, there's always alcohol and drugs.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Those are, that's a cheap way to party. Oh, wait a minute, though. She said she didn't feel guilty. Did she?
She didn't. Shit.
Oh, fuck. You don't need my advice. You're good. You're good. You don't need, you're doing just fine.
I mean, if you're blessed with sociopathic tendencies like lack of guilt, then shit, you're already winning at life.
Who isn't, right?
Exactly.
Who isn't? I mean, sociopaths, maybe that's just our next, step. That's like they found that stone that evolves your Pokemon into a better Pokemon. Yeah.
I know. You just found the key to happiness.
No, empathy is loose baggage, man. You don't need that. You don't need that.
I know. There's a reason why Mantis turned to dust.
Yeah, right. Guardians of the Galaxy, Mantis, Avengers. Spoiler alert. What's her name? Charlotte? What's this woman's name?
Don't feel guilty.
Oh, yeah. Well, then just keep on not feeling guilty. I mean, why are you bothering us with this? Okay? Keep on keeping on.
I mean, your sort of emotional makeup right now should definitely help you, cope through the eventual fights and separation and divorce.
Or, I mean, just keep cucking the guy.
I mean, you'll get half of everything.
Just keep on keeping on. I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? Because certainly, I think you can fix Brad, and I think he can fix you, especially with the setup you got going right now. Yeah, I'd double down, personally.
I know. Keep on keeping on, swiping right.
There you go. And let's stop recording, and let me know when you're ready.
And this was Dan's bad advice. Disclaimer, kids, don't try this at home.
Or do. I mean, we're not going to tell you how to live.
It's a free country.
Free country. Well, it's actually pretty expensive, but
yeah, very much.
Another subject.
Hi, I'm Chris Jones, and I'm here to tell you about the Nerd Bliss podcast. As the name suggests, we're geeks and nerds. We love all the geeky stuff. Sci-fi, fantasy, books, cosplay, comic books. We'll be talking about all of it. But don't let the name fool you. Fitness geeks, musicians, or people who live and breathe cars, computers, or even history. We want to talk to them too, and have as much fun as possible along the way. Check us out at nerdblisspodcast.com and on social media at nerdblisspod. That's nerdblisspodcast.com and on social media at nerdblisspod. Come stop by and share your nerd bliss with us.
And now in Joker Watch or Puddin' Patrol, name currently being worked on.
Name pending.
We've got some in the news about the Clown Prince of Crime himself. DC's announced that they'll be doing a Joker origin movie with Joaquin Phoenix in the titular role.
Yeah, that's just been dropped. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. From what I've been hearing recently, is it's supposed to be a lower budget film, certainly compared to the other superhero films we've been seeing. Looking at budget, they say between 35 to 75 million, which is a big. I mean, well, which one is it? So 55 million, fine. It's going to be a lower budgeted film, taking place, from what I've heard, between like the late 1980s, early 90s. Trip out. I'm not really sure what kind of direction do you think they're going to go with that? It's an interesting time to set it. We'll talk about Jared Leto and all that in a moment, but in terms of what we have on our, right now in front of us, yeah, kind of a mid-lower budget film, Joaquin Phoenix, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely an interesting move, so to speak, but I think it's a good one because I think right now Warner Brothers and DC just needs to focus on just telling good stories and making good movies with these characters, and that's it. Just put that whole cinematic universe building up to some big shit thing on the back burner right now because they've obviously been struggling like hell with that. So, make a good movie telling about the origin of the Joker.
If they're going to walk it back, and we don't know if this is a move they're making because Jared Leto is still contracted with them in the current, if you will, DC Cinematic Universe timeline and what's been established. And so we have Aquaman coming out in a few months, and that's all going to be part of that. Okay, so maybe the idea of this being a walk back is a little silly. If you are going to try to put some interesting blood into all of this, if they're even going to tie it in, that being thrown out there, if you're going to try to infuse something likable to an audience that we're going to want to give you our money for in exchange for the story, the Joker, I think, is probably the smart move right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are...
In terms of their catalog, in terms of who do they want to try to get everyone's attention with.
Yeah, because there's like a few characters that they could focus on to just tell good stories about that could, help them gain some momentum back. They've already done it with Wonder Woman, even though it's, loosely tied in and led up with, what happened with Justice League and all that. But in the end, they told a good standalone movie about Wonder Woman's origins and her first venture. So, they just need to focus on that kind of storytelling.
Right.
And the Joker origin movie doesn't have to lead up into anything. They just need to tell a good origin story.
Right.
Make it a well-made movie, and then just go from there.
What's up with...
because you can do that with Joker. They've done that with Wonder Woman. The whole Batman solo flick, who the hell knows what's going on with that.
Right.
And, trying to, could say they could do it with Harley Quinn, but, they want to keep her in ensembles, which is fine.
Right.
Because, she's going to be in that Birds of Prey movie that they're trying to work on.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Martin Scorsese, he was, remember, the very beginning of all of the whispers and the talk that they want to make a standalone Joker movie. One of the first big things to come out of that was that Martin Scorsese was thinking about getting attached to that. I haven't heard anything lately, though. Have you?
No. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they announced the standalone Joker movie with Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh, shit, that's right. So now, wait a minute. We're going to have 2 Joker movies coming at us.
Yes.
Okay. They may not be connected.
Yeah. I did hear that the plan was that DC was trying to work on another cinematic universe on top of what they've already had, which is like...
Well,
Because if you can't do one thing right, just double down.
What they could end up doing, because the big question, every movie they come out with, and every movie we go, and the box office is shaky and the critical acclaim is in the toilet. The question is, how many of these do they keep pumping out? It made sense to go all the way through to Justice League because they were still making money, regardless of the critics and all of that. Wonder Woman was critical in all of that.
Yeah.
But now Justice League,
and Suicide Squad made
Suicide Squad,
a really good bank.
Yeah.
Critical response. Well, I think.
No, the critical response was still in the toilet, bro.
I thought it was still decent, but the fan response, or it was the opposite way. One of those responses was actually kind of decent, while the
I'm going to guess fan response. The only one on my radar where we saw a weird flip like that was The Last Jedi, and that's an entire podcast
in and of itself.
Weekly, goddamn, 2-hour-long podcast unto itself. No, I think the critics were not fans of Suicide. We have internets in front of us, but we'll leave it to you, the fans, to yell at your listening your podcast platform of choice and scream back at us, fucking dick-faced motherfuckers. The fans loved it. Or the critics loved it. I don't think the critics loved it.
Of which, if you do yell at us like that, all we'll feel is pleasure, because that means you're listening.
Yeah, right. I mean, whether it be love or acrimony, we just want to make you feel something.
So it's life without emotion.
Exactly. And the big question with DC, and I mean, maybe we'll cut this out, but every time they misstep forward, when do you say reboot it? And I think right now they're in such a shaky, weird place because Aquaman might be a good movie, right? Yeah. Aquaman might be a good movie, which is just Wonder Woman was.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman tanked.
And I mean, Aquaman's got a really good director in James Wan.
Right. So it might be one of those, they're kind of all over the place. So they're really in a position where they don't want to pull the plug. They kind of can't in a lot of ways. But at the same time, if they can get another project, a lower budget project that would have to be more character driven, it's still gonna stand up as a quote unquote superhero movie, as a Joker film. I mean, you remember Logan? Logan didn't seem like it took a government stimulus package to bankroll. And look at that film. Look what they did with that. Definitely the best, if you want to call it an X-Men film. Definitely the best X-Men film. I guess you kind of have to call it. Yeah. But it is. It is above and beyond. It's in a different category. X-Men film. So yeah, we could see how, if we go more, what are they doing and saying and making us feel, as opposed to how big can we make the villain, how CG can we go on all this? That could set them up. That could be like an insurance policy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They could either, hey, everybody loved the movie. Does it tie in? Does it not tie in? Dude, you gave us $120 million at the box office for a $50 million Joker movie, right? I mean, maybe who cares? Maybe we're not going to answer that, At the same time, if the DCU just is unrepairable, which it might even be, then they can be like, well, we've already got this cooking. Yeah. Now let's do the follow-up to the Joker movie, the Batman movie, $70 million budget. Let's keep that hard and gritty. You don't need to make him fly. He doesn't need an invisible jet. It doesn't have to be filmed underwater, right?
Right.
Just straight up, a dude who can punch good and can detective shit and has gizmos, practical effects. Mm-hmm. That's again. I don't know if it'll make it. It's maybe Patreon content once we talk to the grown-ups who podcast with us. Help us, Chris. But you see what I'm saying with all that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? What are your thoughts on what I just said? Validate or confront me.
Yeah, and I do think depending how Aquaman goes is probably going to be the teeter-totter of it, because I really and truly, I'm hoping, and this is more out of being a fan of James Wan's films, like the Conjuring series and all that, that he would sort of be their, I want to say, dark horse sort of director that helps expand and prolong it, kind of like how James Gunn was with Guardians of the Galaxy. Cause that was a whole big sort of unknown. And I mean, And I would say Guardians of the Galaxy came along at the MCU's weakest point.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Well, more or less its weakest point, because it came out a few months after Winter Soldier, which was fantastic.
Great movie.
Yeah, but it was a year removed from Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 3, which Iron Man 3 was kind of mixed, but more on the positive side as far as fanfare, and Thor: The Dark World is mostly panned.
And I will fight any motherfucker over both. I liked them both. I was okay with them both.
I mean, I don't mind them both, but as far
I hear
as
you're saying
little
that.
observation.
Yeah, every time I see it in a video.
So I mean, if Aquaman
at least it wasn't the Dark World.
Ends up being really good, and they get James Wan on it more while having Patty Jenkins who hit a slam dunk with Wonder Woman.
Right.
Like then maybe the DCEU will have a better chance. But if Aquaman just fucks it up and Shazam.
They're filming that. Their production.
Yeah, that's already done. That's already coming out.
Yeah,
it's coming in April.
Right. Yeah, where does that? I mean, if Jared Leto's getting his own Joker movie, Joaquin Phoenix is now attached to this other thing they're doing. Maybe it's not even so much a question of when you ask what's going on with Joker. It's not. It depends on what happens with the DC EU. How do I put this? Joker is the future, right? Joker is the future. They're putting a lot on Joker to get this moving forward. And with this second Joaquin Phoenix film, it's almost like it's the Joker is almost like they're pulling it out of, or pulling him above at least.
Yeah.
The DCE, where at least that character and what they're going to establish there, theoretically, could be divorced from the DCEU and be a fallback position.
Yeah.
They could fall back on that and then, like they should have fucking done, started slowly. One movie a year. The equivalent of an end credit little little Easter egg. Samuel L. Jackson shows up in the credits. You didn't even know you were supposed to stay. You didn't know that till 2 years later after you watched it on video. And somebody said, no, hold up.
But yeah, Joker, Harley, and Wonder Woman are pretty much the spearhead of a future where DC films and other medias that you can watch on the television and on the silver screen flourish.
Exactly.
Like they need to be good and actually keep their momentum, because we're coming up real quick on the 2-year anniversary of Suicide Squad and haven't really heard much about any of Harley's little adaptations aside from her getting an animated series on the DC Universe streaming service, which starts next year.
Right. Yeah, the Harley character is blowing up. Definitely. And that's just going to move Joker's... we could go on all night about this. The fact that you've got, Wonder Woman. It looks like in terms of future moves and future money, you got Joker. We're going to have Aquaman coming up. We'll see how that goes. Everybody loves this guy. The Game of Thrones Dragon King biker.
Conan.
Yeah, Jason Momoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. What's interesting, what we're not saying in terms of who's holding up the DCE right now is the man that holds up the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Superman. Why?
Because there's been a Man of Steel 2 that has been announced well over a year now.
He has not been well received. I have to say,
at all.
They did not figure out.
And his CG upper lip did not do him any favors.
Did not help. I don't know how much of this is going to make it into the show. This might be a show number 2. We could just start stacking these motherfuckers up. Maybe it will. That's cool. Look at Marvel. Look at Captain America. I was into comics on my own terms as a kid. If we want to talk about popular comics, it was Punisher. It was X-Men I was into.
I wasn't into Captain America. And I'm taking this to Superman. Give me a sec. He was just so fucking, corny. Cornier than Superman. I never thought Superman was corny, to be honest with you. I always had a soft spot for Superman. Then when Marvel, Disney, they're like, hey, we're going to tentpole this, 30-year, $1 trillion, 50 movie franchise. We're going to tentpole it on Captain America. And how do they take this relatively, up until I know, Civil War had already come out in the comics, and they had evolved Captain America in the comics. But then again, how many people read comics versus how many people watch movies? Comic money versus Hollywood. It's no
big difference.
It's a ridiculous difference. There are people that draw individual salaries that make more money than 5 runs of your top 5 comics in a month. When a comic reaches 300,000 circulation, right? Like 300,000 issues were sold. That's considered kind of a big deal nowadays, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's chump money in terms of what the publisher is actually going to get back. And I'm not saying that's bad at all. I'm not knocking comic books in any way. It's just a matter of audience and audience taste. I went down a total wormhole justifying my whole, sorry everybody. Captain America, when the MCU decided to do Captain America, they nailed it. They took this otherwise corny red, white, and blue character. That's the majority of what people knew of Captain America. People didn't. What I'm saying was they didn't know that he had been evolved into a deeper character in the comics. Everyone's perception of Captain America, the general perception versus your average comic book reader. The majority of us looked at Captain America as this hokey idea, and they knocked it out of the fucking park. They turned him into somebody that I liked. And I'm a son of a bitch. I'm a shitty, snotty, I look at most fiction and I don't like it because I'm a jerk. And I love Captain America. Superman, way more name recognition prior to this current, golden age of, or silver age of superhero movies that we're in right now. Prior to that, certainly, and probably still, I would definitely still. Superman is a bigger name. Superman also has truth, justice, and the American way. Well, when you turn on the TV at night, and when you've been turning on the TV at night since the Vietnam War, you don't see that reflected. And that was dealt with in the 80s. Frank, with Superman making him a weapon of Ronald Reagan in the Dark Knight Returns series.
Yeah.
The comic books, again, have evolved him, but still it's this, when you think about it, kind of corny idea. An idea that hasn't lasted. An idea that doesn't... we know that America and our ideals are way grayer than Superman's core values. And Warner Brothers didn't do what Disney did with Captain America. They didn't translate him into somebody that we relate to. I don't feel like I relate to the DCEU's Superman, and I don't feel like he relates to me. Does that make sense? Have I just gone?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, you were right on the money about Captain America. I mean, who would have thought, with somebody going in with, a limited knowledge of Captain America, that something like the Winter Soldier movie would happen?
Yeah, right, totally.
Yeah, the first movie, still wonderful movie, but it was a traditional Cap story. Nothing wrong with that, but Winter Soldier just took everything to a whole another level, not just the Cap story, but the entire MCU, everything you had learned in Avengers and
right. They went right to challenging.
It just because you throw out SHIELD, the organization that brought everybody together.
Yeah, no doubt. The way that they did Captain America, totally worked. Totally worked. And now we get to see him how he is now. He's been in a constant state of evolution, hasn't he? He really has.
He really has.
They've been evolving the character. And the two movies that I have not seen Justice League. And whenever I hear somebody on a podcast say, well, I haven't seen that, it's like, well, then why the fuck are you in front of that microphone? I'll be watching it this week. I've already spoken with management about that, and it's part of my required viewing this week to get Justice League down. But in Man of Steel and Batman Superman, I didn't see an evolution there. He fights for Lois, but he doesn't really seem to fight for us. The Messianic complex. I honestly see him becoming a guy I don't like.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's ever addressed. I don't know if it's like, oh, well, that was on purpose. If you tell me it was on purpose, I'll go back and look at the other movies a little differently, maybe. But he doesn't. I don't know. Am I wrong?
No, but so pretty much what we've learned in this discussion is maybe the villains have a point. Maybe they're Batman's best friends and or drug buddies.
Yes. Yeah.
LeBron is a necessary evil for the Lakers, if you want to say.
LeBron can only be a force of good. LeBron is big medicine for LA. Okay? LeBron is the big ass shot in the butt that LA doesn't want, but LA has to take.
Right. And also we learn, well, whatever you learn from the advice column, that's on you. That's your own personal life. And also, there's going to be a lot of Joker events and Joker discussion to come. But with that, we wrap up the first issue of Thunder Talk with Sexy Thor and
Lightning Lad.
We thank you for tuning in if you're still with us. Join us next week. We'll be talking Ant-Man and the Wasp, and depending on when we record this, either what we're hoping to see and hear at San Diego Comic-Con, which at the time of this recording will happen not this coming weekend, but next weekend. Or if we're recording and it's already happened, we'll talk about it, because even with the lack of a Marvel Studios presence, we're still going to have a lot to talk about. So
yeah, we'll get with the station manager about all that. So same
anyway,
Thor time, same Thor channel.
Sexy Thor and Lightning Lad signing off.
Well, all right, guys, that is going to do it for your first episode of Thunder Talk. If you have any thoughts or feedback, why don't you borrow the Nerd Bliss podcast call-in line and tell us what you think. We'll take that call. It's okay. That number is 864-715-9446, and you can call it 24 hours a day. But we'd love to hear from you in any event. On behalf of Adam and Dan, this is Chris from the Nerd Bliss podcast. Take care.